Hi again, I'm Pedro and I'm back with another video of IELTS tips. In this video, we're going to go back to looking at IELTS speaking part 3. In the previous video, we covered the basics. So now we're going to look at a few extra things that might be useful for you. Here's a quick reminder of what is in IELTS speaking part 3. In this part of the exam, you're going to have a discussion with the examiner for about 4 to 5 minutes. The topic you'll talk about is connected to the topic you had in speaking part 2. The only difference being is that with this topic, you're going to have to speak in a much more general or impersonal way. Now, as this is a discussion, the examiner does not need to stick to a set of questions. So be prepared for the examiner to respond directly to things that you might say. So in this video, we're going to take a look at a few extra things that may help you with this part of the IELTS speaking test. It might be a good idea to go back to my previous IELTS speaking part 3 video and watch it after this one. For now, let's start by looking at a few common problems that candidates have with this section of the speaking test. One common issue is that candidates become stressed because the questions are difficult to answer. There's no way around this. You need to be prepared for the fact that in speaking part 3, you'll be asked challenging questions. The way to deal with these questions will come from the work you do in the months, weeks, and days before the day of your exam. We'll have a look at what you should be studying in this video. Another issue for candidates is giving an answer that is too short. Now, this may happen because candidates want this part of the test to finish as quickly as possible because they're stressed from having to deal with questions that are a little bit more difficult than what they're used to. However, this part of the test won't be cut short just because you want it to be. The examiner will just keep asking you more questions to get more information out of you and to listen to more of your English. In my previous speaking part 3 video, I gave some tips on how to answer questions in this section of the speaking test. In this video, we'll look at what you can do to prepare for this section and give nice extended answers. So, let's begin. As I mentioned at the beginning of this video, in this section, you will need to answer the questions in a more general way rather than talking about yourself. So it may be useful to use phrases such as these. The questions in speaking part 3 will want you to give more than just an opinion. You may be asked to describe a situation in your country, speculate about the future, offer solutions, or make comparisons. You need to make sure that you use appropriate grammar to be able to give an adequate answer. Talking about your country may require you to use a combination of past, present, and perfect structures. So if you need to talk about the future, you can try to use sentences with will or going to. You could try conditional sentences or modals such as may, might, should, or could. You could also use conditionals and modals to give solutions. Any comparisons can be made, obviously, with comparatives. As you know that you will need to be more impersonal and general with your answers, using the passive voice may be useful. One of the things the examiners will be marking you on is the variety and accuracy of your grammar. So make sure you study and practice your grammar structures before the exam. You'll want to show the examiner that you're able to connect your ideas and express your feelings. So using a variety of linking words in this section will be beneficial to you. They'll also help you to organize and manage what you say. And this goes beyond using although, however, or and. While being able to use these is obviously important, you will get a better score if you use a variety of linking words depending on what you are asked. Comparing and contrasting isn't just about grammar. You could use words such as similarly, in the same way, or equally. You can show your opinion and attitude by using phrases like unfortunately, actually, to be honest, or definitely. You may need to talk about a sequence of things, so try to begin with, moving on to the next reason, secondly, or finally. And use besides, additionally, or another good example of this to add more information. You'll probably need to provide examples to support what you're saying, so you could introduce them by saying, in other words. A striking example of this, a classic example is, or something simple like such as. And you could vary how you talk about results by saying because of this, therefore, or consequently. You know you need to talk about things in general, so try using generally, broadly speaking, as a rule, or on the whole. And you also know that you'll get challenging questions. So try giving yourself a bit of time to think about what you're going to say by using expressions like, let me think about that. That's a difficult question, or that's an interesting question. Or you could say, I haven't thought of that before. Whatever linker you use, they will help you to not only show off a variety of English, but help you to extend your answers, thus avoiding the short answers I mentioned at the beginning of this video. Now, one more thing that can help you to speak for longer is to use different points of views in your answer. Imagine you have this question. Try to think about the people who would benefit from low-cost air travel and why. You could obviously talk about passengers and the advantages for them, but what about for people in the tourism industry? What about the people who live in these places that receive more visitors? Are they happy? Are there only advantages for them? Don't just think about the people affected. Try to analyze the question from an economic perspective. Does a country's economy grow if they get more tourists? Are more jobs created due to increase in demand? But you could also approach the question from an environmental perspective. Low-cost air travel could mean a greater number of flights, but surely this means a greater carbon footprint. And that brings me to the end of this video. I hope it's been useful. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. For now, good luck with your studies and see you in the next video.